From sunny Southern California, we bring you Meet Bridget.
Bring it on, baby.
All right. Well, welcome, Erin McCarthy, to Meet Bridget. Erin, you are Chief of Staff at CoreViva, which is, for those who might not know of CoreViva yet, it is a preventative healthcare company with the fastest and most comprehensive full-body MRI on the market.
Yes.
So I'm so excited to have you here. You're our first Chief of Staff on the podcast, and some people might not even know what that means. So can you break down what is your job at CoreViva?
Absolutely. I'm happy to. I'm always excited to talk about CoreViva. It's a kind of passion job for me that I've arrived at after many different opportunities and different forays into different industries. So Chief of Staff is an interesting title. So a lot of people don't really know what it means. It's kind of one of those businessy titles that people are like, that seems fake.
Like I know that the government has Chief of Staff.
Like, isn't there Chief of Staff at the White House?
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I'm like, yeah, that's me. No, it's not me. But it can take on a lot of different kind of avenues. So it can look like a very different thing at a different company. A Chief of Staff could be a 65-year-old who's worked for 40 years as a Chief of Staff. A Chief of Staff can also be, a 23-year-old who's starting out at a startup and, running things day to day. I think I'm like somewhere in the middle of that, where I am kind of a doer of anything that needs to be done. I'd say, in general, if I had to put it in a bucket, it would be more like business, decisions and analysis in general. So say the CEO comes to me and says, I think there's some opportunities in this area, or we want to partner with this kind of company, or we want to bring in these kinds of people in the door, or we need to, make us more efficient in whatever way. That's kind of on me to execute a game plan and then assign or bring together the right people within the organization, whether it's CoreViva or somewhere else. I've done this at different companies, to then actually bring something across the finish line. And I think something that defines a Chief of Staff too is being able to see a very large picture and then break it down into small component parts and then get something done.
Okay. How does that differ from like a COO? So outside operations versus Chief of Staff.
I think there's a lot of overlap, but a COO, operations takes on a different meaning at different companies. Right. Like I worked at Ruggable before this and we made machine washable rugs. In operations means like, how do you make a rug?
Right. And supply chain.
Exactly.
And all that. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that person might be making larger supply chain decisions of where do we source our products from? Like, are we going to change our global strategy of how we make a rug? Whereas a Chief of Staff can kind of touch on parts of that and then also can go into a lot of other business functions and areas. Like I could be doing financial modeling. I could be thinking about our people strategy. Who do we hire? How do we hire them? I could be thinking about issues that are larger than specific areas or smaller, or helping out folks who are leading areas like the COO. I could be helping them out as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even in the term Chief of Staff, it implies that you're kind of also overseeing the staff. Is that a function of it too? Are you hiring and firing?
It depends on the company. I'd say for me, I do deal with hiring. Okay. So thinking about how to get the right people in the door. And it depends on kind of what the decision is, whether it's my decision to make or somebody else's.
Okay.
Yeah. I know that's kind of vague, but the role's also kind of vague.
Well, I also think that that's a nice light to shine on this topic, right? There are these titles that you'll find in common at all different companies, but the roles in every company are fluid, and there's also a lot of room for you to show up and bring something fresh and new to a role that even has this, you look at a job description, right? You're like, oh, that looks like an interesting opportunity on LinkedIn. And they're like, here are your different roles and responsibilities. But that company might want you because you bring this completely different flavor and strong suit 100%. To it. And, it's not like you're checking in to your roles and responsibilities bullet points every single week. And you're like, yep, I did them all this week. That even at the highest level jobs in some of the biggest companies or the smallest companies that you could work for can look a lot different based on the person.
It's such a good point. And I think we think now a little bit too robotically about jobs because we have AI and we have, I guess, a more transactional approach to job searching, which is, you go to LinkedIn and you see who's hiring.
Right.
Or you go to the company website and you see which roles are available and how much do I get paid for them? And there's a salary threshold I think I can make. And there's roles and responsibilities that I think I'm going to do. And if I don't fit into that, then that's not for me. and like I'm supposed to apply and get my job that way.
Right.
Whereas I think that that's taking the human component away from things where like you said, right? Erin might not be good at those exact roles and responsibilities. I might bring something else.
Yeah.
But who drafted those? Like it's probably some person in an office who thought that that was the right thing at the time. And not to say it's not, but it might not encompass everything that they might have wanted.
Or maybe the last person that worked that job was like, well, here are all the things I did.
Right.
And it's like, well, you don't work there anymore.
You know? Do them that well.
Yeah. That it's like, it's all at the end of the day, just kind of, it's boxes to check when really we show up each day to the workplace as humans, as people.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that you were brought on at CoreViva?
That's a great question. I think that I got along well with the founders, which is important. We had some shared background. One of the founders is from Harvard. 2 of them worked at McKinsey. So I think from kind of an on paper perspective, I made sense to them. But I think that you also need somebody who's not afraid to speak up. I am opinionated about things that I care about and that I have a strong opinion about. And I think something that I've learned in the last few years is to not have an opinion about something that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know what you're asking me, or if I don't feel strongly, then my answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's maybe the best answer I could give because it's showing that that's a place for somebody else to step in and like, take some responsibility. And so I think that level of transparency appealed to them.
It builds trust.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting because especially as young people, you're going to the workplace, you really, usually, especially if you're really ambitious, you're going into interviews and stuff with people that are impressive.
Yeah.
And you think that you have to show up and be like, I know everything. Here are all the things I know and everything I can give to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially if you're less experienced, people are hiring you for your learnability. How are you going to show up and really adapt to the culture, adapt to the company and grow from that perspective? They're not expecting you to know everything.
Absolutely not.
So if you can say like, actually, you know what? I don't know, but like, I'm going to do my best to get that answer for you. Or if you have someone that, I might be able to learn that from, I'm all yours, like I'm ready to learn.
Well, exactly. And the way you just said it, like when you said, I don't actually know, it was so, if I were hiring, I would hire you in that moment.
Great.
I was like, I can trust this girl when she's saying she's not just giving me whatever she thinks I want to hear from a piece of paper.
Totally. Well, let's talk a little bit about CoreViva itself.
Yeah.
Many people might know there are other competitors in the space. Pronuvo, there's all these MRI basically for anyone that has not. I'm going to have you do it because you work for the company.
Getting grilled.
But tell me about what is an MRI? How does it differ from other scans available? Full body. Tell us about CoreViva to someone who's never had a scan in their life.
Absolutely. So there are different forms of imaging that we have to be able to see inside of the body and get a clearer picture of what's going on. So you might have heard of CT, you might have heard of MRI. There's ultrasounds, mammograms, and all of these provide kind of a different function, a different view into the body. What an MRI does, if we have any photographers out there, or if you've done photography in the past, it's like, think of taking one still image versus a long exposure shot, or like on your iPhone, when you do the long exposure, if anybody moves during it, it becomes blurry, but you can also see over time some movement. And you could also go through each individual shot and see how something changes over time. So a CT scan is more like that one still image, whereas an MRI is more like that long exposure. In doing that, we can see certain organs and bones and muscles and joints in a lot better detail and have a fuller picture of what's going on. So an MRI basically takes, thousands and thousands of images and slices from different directions to be able to see something from a lot of points of view. And what that does is when we're looking at organs, or we're looking at the brain, or we're looking at your bones, we can see that in such astounding detail that, like, for example, an X-ray that's getting that one still image, you're not going to be able to get. And then the other thing is that we've, for the most part, relied on X-rays and CT scans in the past. They're technologies that I think became more advanced quicker, to put it bluntly. Whereas MRI, to be able to take a whole MRI of your body would have taken 10, 20, 30 hours. We didn't have the capability 10 years ago to do this. Now we've had so much advancement in this field that it's really phenomenal what we can see. And the interesting thing here is that with a CT or an X-ray, you're getting radiation. Whereas with an MRI, there's really no side effects.
I think that's super compelling. I don't know if I shared this with you, but I had thyroid cancer in 2018. So moving forward, and like have had a really good outcome, but moving forward, I'm always conscious of like, I'm that person that even though they tell me it's such a like micro dot when you're going through the security at the airport and stuff, I'm like, I don't want any more. I had to take radiation, you know, like I don't want any unnecessary radiation. So I feel like, but also from having that experience of going through cancer, I'm very much like, I want to know what's going on. I think information is power and I want to be proactive. I'm not a reactive kind of person. You know, I like to try to stay in the driver's seat and, you know, look honestly at my situation. So I feel like for people like that, which I think that even our generations is, you know, Gen Z and beyond, there's a lot more interest in wellness and kind of taking the driver's seat in your own health. So
yeah, 100%.
I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, and with that too, like you had it at such a young age, which is, I mean, I think that's so surprising. We like to think that that's like the off case scenario, but we're seeing that more and more of cancer rates increasing in young people. And so I think even young people who come in the door, they have this like health anxiety because they've heard of all these stories.
Yeah.
And being able to eliminate that or like lift that weight off somebody's shoulders.
Yeah.
My mom, I sent her into CoreViva, or I guess she was very reticent for a long time.
Yeah.
She had also like had a parathyroid issue. And after she was so nervous and she went in and she came out and it was amazing because she didn't realize she had this health anxiety all the time. But once she finally came out in the last few weeks, I think it's like come off of her shoulders as she's realized, oh, we've confirmed there's a check mark.
Yeah.
Like I'm not actually worry. I don't have to worry about that thing in my knee or, you know, wondering if that random shooting pain is a tumor. Like,
yes,
it's all off. Weight off their chest.
I came in for a CoreViva scan, which was great and helpful for me, especially being a mom, just to kind of know like, okay, like I'm good now.
Yeah.
You know, I like have a look at what's going on. I can pop in, you know, in another interval and keep checking up. Like this is a great tool to have. And I also had my mom come in recently for the same reason. And she was nervous because she's like, I'm in my 70s, like the likelihood of them finding things. And I kind of think that ignorance is bliss, which is another generational
Mine says
thing.
the same thing. She's like,
get into, you know, but I also respect that it's like, they don't want to be surprised by something at this stage in their lives. But, you know, it was such a great, I sat in on the conversation with the doctor afterwards and, you know, there was like guidance. There was like, hey, I think you could do a little bit more resistance training and a little of this and, you know, not to get into specifics, but, you know, I could tell that she was relieved afterwards because it's like, no, like nothing came up that was scary. And if there were, then it's like what you're doing right now is proactive and you're getting information and that is freedom in the way I understand it, at least.
I totally agree. It's like the thing I always say when people are worried about coming in is that your body already knows whatever's going on inside of it. It's just your brain hasn't been told.
Yeah.
That connection hasn't been made. So it's nothing. We're not telling your body anything it doesn't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really cool way to think about it. In your exact role, let's say if you were talking to yourself as a teenager and she was asking like, what do I need to be good at to do your job right now? What would you say?
Oh, good question. I would say you need to think for yourself. You need to be open to feedback. That's really important. Being able to take it well. That's something I still work on every single day. I don't love being told what I need to do better. And I think that's something I could do better.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I take things very personally, which I probably shouldn't. But I think that honestly, continue on your way and don't worry as much about the failures.
Yeah.
And also, who cares what other people think of you? Like,
yeah,
it's this thing in our brains that probably helps us in certain ways. Like, you don't want to be a social pariah.
Right.
But at the same time, the people who love you are going to love you. And you don't have to think about whether they're loving you or not.
Right.
That should probably just happen.
Yeah. I love it. Let's see. So you've mentioned that your career has been a little circuitous.
Yes.
You also mentioned casually Harvard and McKinsey, which is so impressive. So I'm going to let you pick where you want to start.
Okay.
If you could kind of identify, we'll go into your like teen years after this, but in terms of your career path, can you give us a little journey of how that winding road began?
Absolutely. So yeah, it is definitely a winding road. It's been fun. I think it's been more fun for my family and friends to watch than for me to be in it, honestly, because it's been so circuitous and a little stressful. But yeah, so I went to Harvard for volleyball, was an athlete for 2 years there. And then after that, I felt like I wasn't really getting Harvard as the whole experience. I was getting such an athletic perspective of it and having such crazy hours and training. So I ended up quitting and becoming just a full-time student. And that was one of the best decisions I've made. I mean, I regretted it at certain points, but for the most part, it's been really positive. And I got to study so much. I found consulting recruiting at some point, and I think I saw my peers doing it, and I was like, I can do that better. Like, I'm not playing a sport anymore. I can compete in this. And so I spent oh my gosh, so many hours, so many months studying to basically get recruited into these like prestigious consulting firms. Yep. So it took up probably 2 years of my life just trying to get my first job out of college.
It's a whole ecosystem for people that like, or a young person's like consulting. What is consulting? Like it's a whole thing in the preparation and the case interviews and the whole thing.
It's a whole thing. Like I had no idea. Hyper competitive. It's like a world in and of itself. It's like a whole language you have to learn how to speak. And most jobs are like that. You have to learn the acronyms and learn the language, but consulting, it's tough when you've never worked a job before, like a real corporate job, and you try to come in pretending like you know what you're doing, which I mean, I don't know how there's not really another way, right? Like you can honestly go in and be like, I don't know anything, but they're not going to hire you, right? Like I have to give them something. So it was a lot of studying, tons of prep, case interviews, things like that. Ended up getting hired after I got rejections from many companies. Everyone does. It's very normal. I got so many. I've applied to hundreds of jobs in my life. Like I have gotten mostly rejections.
We need to hear more of that because honestly, like rejections are just redirections.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like, okay, it's not personal. I'm a name on my paper. You didn't give me an interview.
It's a gift because it's getting you closer to the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. And then I spent 2.5 years at McKinsey. In 3 different offices. So lived in Boston, LA, moved to the Netherlands with them for almost 6 months. And then really felt like I wasn't getting purpose. I wasn't feeling like I was helping people. And I'm sure I was in certain ways. I'm not saying consulting's bad as an industry, but more that I didn't feel like my impact was really at such a young age. I felt like I could be out there doing something big with my 20s. And I didn't feel like I was doing that yet. So I quit, had this circuitous little year of learning how to woodwork, got an apprenticeship in Belgium, woodworking.
Wow.
Opened up a little company in LA trying to do sustainable furniture. Found out that's a lot harder. I'm terrible at making furniture. And I mean, like, I cannot follow. If you give me like an IKEA box with like, okay, set up a little table.
Yeah.
I throw the directions out. First step, directions are out. And then I like go through the things. It takes me like 7 hours. And I'm like, okay, I think I can figure this out.
Yeah.
Nothing is aligned right. It never works. I throw it out and like buy something on Facebook Marketplace. So
amazing.
That didn't work well. But from there, ended up getting, honestly, one day I was like, I might be open. If somebody gave me an offer for a job, I might take it.
Yeah.
And the next day I had an email in my inbox from a recruiter being like, hey, there's this job as chief of staff to the CEO at Ruggable. You have like a furniture background. You did consulting. Are you interested in an interview? And like 6 days later, I had a job. So I wasn't looking, and it kind of just fell in my lap.
Honestly, I think there's something to that. I'm not saying that you can just like close your eyes and a job will appear, but I've had a very long and winding career path. I've done a lot of different industries because I'm just a hyper curious person.
Yeah.
But at one point, I think I was like leaving my investment management job, and I had a picture. I'd worked for Aloe in a modeling capacity. So I like printed a picture from one of my campaigns and I put it on my wall because I was like, that's the kind of company I'd like to work for. That like just that culture felt cool.
Yeah.
Quit my job, was called by Aloe the next week. And my parents were like, don't like leave a job before you have another one lined up. And I was like, my mind is exploding. I can't even like think about I need to leave this and come up with something new. And it just kind of like popped. But I think that if you kind of have your intentions set on something, or you have a truth that's kind of showing up for you, that you end up noticing things that are better opportunities for you. So I think that's really interesting. They're like, hey,
so weird, right?
And that they brought up your like furniture background. Totally. Like, there was something there.
There's something there. All this work is not for naught.
Well, and it's also so funny. I mean, to go from working at McKinsey and like the woodworking thing might seem kind of random, but it's also like working at a consulting firm, like you're doing, it's a very cranial, you're popping into different companies, you're solving their problems, you're working with the team. It's very like, it's very intellectual, you're doing a lot of thinking. So to have kind of the rebound of being like, I want to work with my hands, I want to build something physical with my hands that is mine, makes a lot of sense.
You totally get it. That's what it was. I was like, I don't think I've felt a wooden surface in so long. I'm like
I
only
need
on these
concrete.
Exactly. I need something tangible, like physical. Like I need to make a physical product instead of like click-clacking away on my computer, which I still do now. I click-clack away all the time. But you need a little bit of a little
check-in here and there. Exactly. Well, for people, because I think that consulting can be a launch pad for a lot of people that then go on to do a lot of great things. Yeah. Can you give us like, the nuggets of why consulting might be helpful for someone's career, and also the things to be like mindful of if you're going to use that as a launch pad?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that consulting can be very helpful for structuring your thoughts into 1s, 2s, and 3s, which I just did in that response. I literally just structured it.
Yes.
Because that's part 1. Anyways, but what it does is it's like, okay, there's a big problem to tackle. Immediately, let's divide this up in some buckets. Yeah. And let's make it into smaller component parts we can then address. And I didn't think like that beforehand. I hated it when I was going through it. It was like somebody doing surgery on me without anesthesia. Yeah. I felt like they were rewiring my brain because I was told all the time to organize my thoughts, have structured thinking, have A, B, and C to every 1, 2, and 3. And then underneath those, you have more buckets. And then underneath those, you have action item. And like, it was such a crazy way of thinking. Since leaving and since joining other careers, I've seen that it's not me, it's not my intellect, it's my training that has been so incredibly helpful as something I can lean on later. And other people who didn't work in consulting, I think they are genuinely, at least some of the people I've worked with, I think they could genuinely benefit from having that. I think they'd be a lot stronger in their careers if they had that structured thinking. The next 2 things I think are literally creating outputs for senior executives. The level of, I think, perfection that somebody like that requires, where I read an email, I think most people will read an email that I send probably 20 times. I think I can read it 10 times and know faster that everything I'm writing is correct and phrased well. And I think I have just a faster level of output like that. And then the third thing is like the technical skills of creating PowerPoints and Excel sheets that work well. Yeah. I didn't know anything. I mean, I majored in history and Romance languages in college. Like I was not a math girl at all, not science.
The fact that you majored in that and then you went and did like case interviews, which can be so like technical and mathy.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Impressive. It was very difficult.
But you were a volleyball person. You were an athlete. So it's like, you're like, challenge. Yeah. I can compete and I can train and I can win.
Challenge accepted. Exactly.
I love it.
Like, okay, let's just be the underdog here and go for it. And I definitely felt like that. But I think that the Excel work was amazing. Yeah. Being able to feel like I'm actually really proficient at least a base level of modeling.
Well, and I feel like right now, we're in this incredible shifting time where like AI is able to do so much more and stuff. But I think there is still this foundational strength of knowing how we can do it, before you're employing a machine to do something. It's like, no, to know the skill and what goes behind it and the building blocks and the reason for the thing in the first place before you're having a robot do it for you, I think is a really valuable thing.
100%. Like I would be very sad if we ever get to a day when I don't know how to do the thing I'm asking AI to do first. Yes. Like I want to know how to do it and I just want to ask it to save me time.
Yes.
But like if I actually lose the fundamental skills, I think that'd be very sad.
For someone that is thinking about consulting though, there is a lifestyle that goes along with it.
Yes.
Can you give us some of the realities of what it looks like to dive into consulting right out of college or wherever you enter it?
Totally. For most people, you join as like an analyst. That's right out of college. And when you're doing that, you're basically the person on the team who does the work. And then a lot of other people do the thinking. Not to say it's easier or harder, but it just means that day to day, you're tasked with like creating things. So whether that's PowerPoint presentations or drafting emails or Excel sheets and stuff like that, what that ends up being is a lot of time. And it depends on how quickly you work, to be perfectly honest. Like I worked pretty fast after the first year. The first year was tough. I was working, it was also COVID, but I was working probably from 7:30 or 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. every night. And that is a good schedule. Like that's not bad for consulting. Often I hear 8 a.m. till midnight or 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I just don't think that I'd rather do poorly at work and go to bed at like before midnight.
I'm more normal.
I'd rather be an okay performer and like have an okay life and be healthy rather than kill myself. So, I think that but it can be really difficult. And then once you get more of a handle on things, I think I was working more like 8 to 7.
Okay.
But it still meant that I couldn't commit to like a dinner plan on the weekdays.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it's like that type of like early career commitment can be really daunting and stuff, but you are technically like in a stage of your life where you're probably not married or have kids.
Right.
You know, it is like a fast and furious way to like get really good at certain things really quickly. Like you said, and you're like, you'll probably never forget how to like write a really good email.
Yeah.
You know, I remember like working in finance, I was like, this is not right for me after a period of time. But I was like, later companies I went to, they're like, can you write this email for me? Can you communicate this tricky thing in a respectful, professional manner? I'm like, absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're like, say less, you know?
Totally.
But it's like you build these skills that are just from repetition and being placed in challenging, demanding environments over and over and over.
No, totally right. And if I ask AI to write that email for me, I'm sorry, but it doesn't sound as good.
No.
Like
There's
sounds like
touch.
Yeah, there's a human touch.
At least right now. Okay, so let's jump forward. You're at Ruggable.
Yes.
What happened then?
I was at Ruggable, and I loved it. I loved the company. I loved who I was working for. Unfortunately, there was like, I don't really know what went on, but there was a change in management after I got there. And so we ended up without a CEO the whole time I was there. And I was hired to be chief of staff to the CEO. So
you're kind of the CEO.
I wish. No. So what ended up happening is I kind of moved into a position of being like I think my title was senior manager of special products special projects.
Okay.
Which kind of sounds like a spy or something. And when I would say it to people, they're like, what do you do? I'm like,
I would tell you and then I'd kill you.
That I'd have to kill you. Exactly. But what I ended up doing is opening international factories.
Okay, cool.
So manufacturing plants. So opened a big one in Canada for them and led that project for about a year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And when you left there?
Yes. So I ended up spending, so this was 2 years ago. So I ended up spending last year. So playing, well, basically I can take you from the beginning. So I was, I'd been playing rec league volleyball, like for fun, often co-ed. So guys and girls in the same team, kind of messing around volleyball leagues in LA and New York.
Okay.
And I was having such a good time. And I was like, wait, I feel like I'm better at this than I was in college. I'd taken a few years off. But I just love the sport. I fell back in love with it after having such a grueling 10 years with, trying to get recruited and going to college and playing D1 and the whole thing. I just fell back in love. So I was like, wait, I'm kind of good at this. I think there's opportunities overseas. They're opening this new US league. So it means a lot of the US players who were playing abroad are coming here, meaning there's all these positions in Europe available. Let me put some feelers out and see if I could play this professionally again.
Yeah.
So I ended up sending some emails, recorded some footage, and then kind of just threw it to the back of my mind. That was early in the year.
Yeah.
And then sometime later that year, I heard back and an agent was like, I have a friend of a friend of a friend who it's a crazy team, but this is the offer. And it was to go play on an island in the Arctic Circle in Norway.
Wow.
And I, sat on it a little bit, but I eventually, I was like, this is crazy. I was like, no, absolutely not. I told my family and friends, I'm like, don't worry, I'm not considering this.
Yeah.
And then, a week goes by, a few weeks go by, and I'm like, I think I'm going to go.
Right. Just in the back of your head. We love those ideas. You're like, oh, it's happening. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's giving Alyssa Liu where it's like serious of the sport, take a break, come back and like actually enjoy the sport.
And I'm honored to be compared to her. But yes.
So good. Okay, so you went.
So I went. Exactly. I went and I like moved to Norway for a year and played. I mean, it was it had always been kind of well, not even a dream. I was always like, yeah, I could have gone to play pro, but I just decided not to.
Yeah.
And I didn't like having that in my mind. I didn't want to say that sentence over and over for the rest of my life to my children, being like, oh, your mom could have played, but she decided not to. Like, I don't want that. That's not fun.
Yeah, we're not big on unrealized dreams, you know?
Like,
just like, you got to give it a try.
It, go do it. Or stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So you're playing. I think we talked before our interview. I think you got a boyfriend out of that trip.
I did. Okay. It was a successful trip.
So that's great. He's over there.
How
did you end up at CoreViva?
So after that, I came home and, you know, being in Norway really changed my state of mind. I think I had been searching for meaning and searching for purpose for a long time in what I do for work. Because I don't really believe in work-life balance. I think it works for some people, but for me, I love having the two really combined. Like I want there to be a connection between the two. I don't want it to feel like if I'm working a 12-hour day, like I hate my life. Like I want to be happy about it because I work all the time for myself, like, you know, painting or doing music. And I think it's, I love doing that. And I'm happy to work a 15-hour day. Right. Yeah. And so I'd love to find that in a passion, in a career. And when I came back from Norway, I think I had just been at such a peaceful place for so long, being like, wow, the world is so much, I don't know, so much more connected and beautiful than I thought. And I want to just find a way to give back to that and be genuine in all of my interactions. I don't want to have this facade that I have to pretend like, you know, consulting, a lot of it is talking about things I don't know very much about. And not to say that I'm giving bad advice, but it's more like, it might not be the area I'm most interested in.
Right. And so you're popping into different companies and you're like, well, from my perspective, this is what you should do.
Right.
And then you leave and you don't get to see that, like,
exactly,
you know, the outcome.
Exactly.
That's going to be kind of tricky.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to find something I actually care about every single day, you know, and I feel passionate about working for it. And I don't care if it pays a lot. I don't care necessarily anything like that. But I was looking at sustainability. I was looking at, you know, nonprofits, things like that. So I came back to LA and really spent a long time sitting and being peaceful with it and waiting for the right opportunity to come. You know, I did volunteer work here and there and was working on some like passion projects throughout LA that could have materialized. But when I heard of CoreViva the first time, I was like, this might be it. And then after the first conversation, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is it. Because I mean, how much better of an impact can you have than saving lives every single day? Right. Like the better I do my job, the more lives we save.
Well, I think the cool thing about CoreViva too is that you're not just like going in and fixing something or telling people what they need to do. You're literally, you know, they get the scan and then you sit with a doctor and you're educating them and putting them like in control of their body and letting them really understand their body, that it's, you're equipping people, you know, you're not just going in and saving them or fixing them.
100%.
And I think that's so cool.
You're teaching a man to fish, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love also what you mentioned about just your life philosophy, that you think that if you're going to be working this many hours a day, it should be something that you're really passionate about. And I think that underlying our whole mission at Meet Bridget is that, you know, you can feel it when you meet somebody that's like, their work is part of who they are. Like, it's genuinely wonderful to work with those kind of people, employ them. You want to pay them whatever they'll 100%. Take, because it's like, yes, this is a person that like should be doing this thing, which is kind of the qualifier for any woman that we have on Meet Bridget is we like those women that are in their lane. They have that special buzz about them. Yeah. And we also believe that usually those women took something from their young self, their teen self, and that thread has kind of like grown and flourished and been an essential part of who they are today and part of their passion. So with that, I'd love to jump back in time and talk about you. What is like the earliest version of you that you could remember? What was your personality like?
When I was a kid? I think, you know, I always think back to one of my first soccer practices. I was so nervous, and I remember I was getting dressed and I came downstairs, and the like vision I have is my mom comes in and goes, what are you wearing? And I'm like, what do you mean? And I had on rainbow knee-high socks up to here. I had on my sister's soccer shorts, way too big for me, but I was like, they're my sisters, so they must be cool. And then I had on a green shirt with like a shamrock on it that said, I'm Irish, I'm lucky. And
perfect.
Why not? I don't know why.
We love it.
We love it. And I just looked like a literal leprechaun running on the field. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, Mom, first impressions are everything.
Yes.
I was like 6 years old.
You're like, I am lucky and I am Irish.
I am Irish. I'm like a quarter Irish. Like, not that
I love
Irish.
it. I'm half Irish. And actually,
amazing.
Bridget is an Irish name.
It's an Irish name.
You know, meaning strong woman. So
I love it.
Yeah, we love it. Well, actually, the sign looks nice. The red hair, you know. So good.
Yeah, but I think I was just bold to a fault. I had no care about, I didn't understand that people could judge me. I didn't understand that people could make fun of me. I just was out there doing my thing. And I think that my friends for a long time like followed that. And then it definitely became weird in middle school. I was like way too out there.
Well, I think that's kind of cool though, because I feel like that's a level of innocence that at some point or another does kind of, you know, the world enters that bubble, right? And I think when you can meet young people that still have that pretty intact, or even adults, you know, at some point, I'm sure you've probably tapped into it a little bit, or even like choosing to go back and play volleyball or woodworking for a little bit, or just like, well, why not? Why not? Who cares what other people think? I'm going to try this thing.
Exactly.
You know, that I think that's when people see that, it touches something in all of us, because we all had that at one point as kids, right? They're like, I don't care. I'm going to wear what I want. I'm going to pick my outfit today, you know, and I'm going to go play soccer. That it's kind of like the magic of youth. So I think that's cool that you kept it for a while.
Well, and I feel like you have it too, like the podcast and bringing on all these cool girls and doing kind of like steering it in the direction you want it to go.
Yeah.
It's really that. It's like the genuine, okay, what do you actually want to do? And who cares who makes fun of you for it, right?
Well, and if it doesn't exist and you really feel strongly about something, like you can make it exist, you know? So, okay. So you mentioned middle school got a little tricky. You were conscious of maybe feeling a little different from other kids? Like, even though you didn't like care, you know, when did things get, I don't know, just a little more tricky for you? I feel like they get tricky for all of us at some point.
You know, middle school wasn't worse for me than I think most people. I think I honestly had a pretty good experience, but I think it's exactly what you said, of like coming to that realization that people are looking at you and talking about you, and then you're like, oh my. And social media, Instagram became a thing when I was in 6th grade, and so I think that became part of it too. Like, I was one of the first generations that kind of grew up with it in adolescence, and not nearly as strongly as today, but I think it was like 6th grade. I remember I came with, of course, neon pants on, like bright blue jeggings, if you remember those.
Jeggings.
And I think I had a yellow shirt on. I looked kind of like, I don't know what team would be bright blue and yellow, but it was giving sports team. Yeah. Like really.
LA Chargers?
Maybe. It was giving Chargers.
Go sports. I'm totally wrong.
I can name like 2 athletes and they're going to be from the wrong sport. I don't know. But yeah. And then I just remember like showing up, and really quickly there was this group of like popular girls that I was best friends with the year before. And they were, I didn't get the memo that I wasn't part of it. So I just like walk up to them like day 2 of school. Yeah. And I'm like, hey guys, what's up? And then, very quickly was turned away. Like they just kind of ignored me. And I was like, I don't understand. What did I do? Like, what's going wrong? But I don't know. There was just, I think I was just a little too innocent, wide-eyed and naive. And everyone else was, not everyone else, but you know, there's like the certain girls and guys that mature earlier and, you know, go to parties and things like that. And I was just still a kid.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like we can talk about it like laughing, because like, you know, I think that you find peace, right, with your younger self in a way that you can like smile and talk about and kind of love that version of yourself, right? But when you're in it, you know, we had like a teen therapist on for a few episodes and she was amazing, but she helped us kind of like shed light on the fact that it's like at that stage in your life, you're like, yeah, you might have a sport or a class or something that's really important to you or your family and stuff, but your social connections are life and death at that stage in our life. So if something is kind of not gelling or you feel like you're left out of a situation, it's like the world is caving in around you. It can be really, really difficult. Did you feel like there was something that sort of was your like kind of lifeline, if that wasn't kind of, we're not saying that it was like epic dark or anything, but if you felt like you were conscious of like, all right, something's weird here, what was it that you were kind of holding on to at the time?
You mean like social connections?
And whether it's social or a sport or something that did feel aligned for you, even though like the social was a little,
That's a good question. I think that, I did drama class. I started in actually I'd always done it. I'd always been in plays. And I think I talk really loudly. And I remember in elementary school, I was always picked for the lead roles, I think, because I could talk so loud and we didn't have microphones. So they could hear me from the back of the gym. Right. And then it just kind of continued throughout middle school that I was always the lead in most of the plays. So I think that was always the stable lifeline throughout all of it. I was cleaning out my childhood bedroom 2 nights ago with my mom. I've been promising her for months that I would go home and clean it out. And
it's such a trip, that experience.
I got through about 3 drawers and she was annoyed the whole time because
it's emotionally a little bit draining. I'm still going through that process. I think I've taken it 5 stages already. And my mom's like, can I just get, I'm like, no.
I need time.
I'm like, yes, I'm going to come, but I need to if we're going to throw it away, I need to have a moment.
Thank you. You need to open the journals and you need to read some pages.
I know. I'm like, look at me.
What was I doing in 2014?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. And half of it's incredibly embarrassing, but still I need to have that embarrassing connection with myself.
Exactly.
And let her fly away.
I'm like, what is this box from 2008?
Yeah.
I have to open it and go through every single thing in it.
It's like a time capsule.
Literally.
Okay.
So, anyways, I was going through, all my childhood stuff and I found these CDs and I think they're old videos of me performing in 7th grade in school plays. And I've never seen them. So I'm really excited. I'm going to go back and look, but I think that was something that gave me a lot of comfort when everything else was going wrong.
And then you've mentioned volleyball, obviously, and that you went through a pretty fierce recruiting process, that you wanted to play volleyball in college. When did volleyball enter your life and how did that kind of evolve for you? So
my sister had played and I think I will never tell it to her, but I always tried to copy everything she did. She was a star student, such a good athlete. So I had always tried to get the grades she did. Didn't do that. Tried to, be as good at volleyball. Felt like I was never as good. But I think I started in 7th grade. I had crazy growing pains in my feet. I was a very short kid, very thin. Similar to you described being like a twig.
It was just a lanky little thing.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of how I've grown into myself now. But it's another, I look at my little girls and I'm like, whoa. I feel like I'm kind of parenting myself in some moments, emotionally and stuff too, but also physically. I'm like, oh, look at this little deer.
So they look like you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. I'm excited to have kids. I'm are you also going to be really short until
they can be so different from you also, where it's wow, you're fundamentally you're completely different, but also then you see little things and it's oh my gosh, this is crazy. But yeah, so cool. It took me a while to grow into my body. I'm probably still doing it.
As we always will.
Life's a journey.
So I was having trouble with soccer at some point and my mom's like, you can't just sit on the couch and do nothing. You can't just be a student. You have to go find another thing, because I was so energetic. So I think it was 7th grade and she's like, you're going to volleyball. And of course I'm like, yes. I'm going to do the thing my sister does. But I pretended to be annoyed and wouldn't put on knee pads. She sent me there with jean shorts, Vans, low socks, and a t-shirt, no sports bra. That was the vibe. Went to my first practice, didn't really know what was going on. But I think one of the coaches, I don't know, she was nice to me or something. Yeah. She should come back next week. And so I went back next week. And then at some point a coach was like, you should maybe be on a team. And it took off from there. After 4 more years of playing and on terrible teams, really bad teams. I was not starting always, finally working my way up. I grew up in Manhattan Beach. Okay. So right up north.
Volleyball capital of the world.
And I was I was not good for my age group. Everyone else had been playing forever. I felt like I was so late to starting, but I started growing. I was 5 foot when I started high school. But I started growing my sophomore year and then made a really good team. And then from there, started to get noticed by coaches and knew it was a possibility. So I went through recruiting for volleyball. And I always say that that's the best job preparation you could ever have. Like it felt like the Wild West. I mean, there's like certain rules about coaches and players like contacting each other and when you can and can't. But besides that, it's like you basically just have to do it on your own. Like I was out there calling, like, jumping the fence between classes in high school to call coaches in the middle of the country that I knew were on their lunch breaks. And, I'd be gone for like 15 minutes and I'd come back and the teacher would be like, where were you? And I'm like, my stomach's upset or I have cramps. Sorry.
Cramps.
But I was actually on the phone with like whatever D1 school or leaving messages for all these crazy coaches. I remember there was this one school, like a really big volleyball school I really wanted to go to. And so I went home and I painted a letter, like not like wrote a letter, but I painted one with paint and like put stickers and glitter all over it.
Yeah.
And then like both inside and outside of it, just so that I thought he would open it.
Yeah. You'd be like, what is this?
Like he's gonna be like, somebody's gonna like, hey,
flag it.
You got this crazy note. You have to open this one.
Yes.
Never got a response. So
you gotta shoot your shot.
But yeah, it was like,
Might as well make it sparkly.
Exactly. Might as well. So I was trying the wildest things. I'd leave wild voice memos. I'd call all the time. I'd email all the time, just like absolutely persistent to hundreds of schools. And then finally my junior year, after a long process and many visits and interviews and all this stuff, committed to Harvard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Casual.
It was a long process.
I think you're so right though, that it's like that. I love the creativity and just thinking about you even being that young and going after it is like, that is the energy that will get you a really good job, is being persistent and direct and following up. Because I think anyone that's been on the hiring end of a job knows that it's like sometimes it's structured and sometimes in bigger corporations and stuff, maybe there's a lot of people screening people before they get to you interviewing them or whatever. But in a lot of cases, it's like the squeaky wheel. I can't tell you how many times it was just like, okay, I got an email and I was like, that's kind of interesting, but I'm busy. I'm doing my job. And it's kind of like, but then that person like follows up a couple times or shows up at your door or something. And it's like, oh, okay, now you have my attention. I'm like, I recognize that name. Like, this person's clearly not going to leave me alone until I at least respond to them and say no, something. But it's like, you can get creative with people, be respectful,
100%.
And like you were saying, like, oh, I knew they were going to be on their breaks, so be strategic, be, respectful, but it's fun. It's fun to kind of take a process, which hiring is a process, reviewing tons of resumes and trying to, it's extra work for the people that are hiring. But, if you make it a little interesting and you break outside the norm and you do something a little unexpected, maybe that's thoughtful, it very well, maybe they don't respond to your sparkly note, but someone else is going to see that energy and that fire and bring you on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the key thing there is like unexpected with a ton of effort.
Yes.
Like I don't want like a music video if I asked for a resume.
Yes.
Or I don't want like a 10-second clip of you or like, whatever it is. I don't want 3 words on a piece of paper.
Right.
It might be creative, but it's not showing any effort.
Thoughtful. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, I want you to show more time and show me why you put in more time. Like my painted letter, like I spent hours on that and you can tell, right?
Yes.
Sure, it didn't go anywhere, but it's not like I just painted you a picture and asked you to take me, right?
Totally.
So, and I think that comes across in recruiting too. Like you're saying, when you're following up all the time and showing effort, or I got this piece of advice recently from somebody that I had an introductory call with and what they said, and they're, at a very large venture capital firm, and they go, you should never join an interview without something to offer. Like, give me research that you've done. Tell me why I should hire you. Like, this isn't, I'm giving you my time. What are you giving me in return? Are you just answering my questions?
Right.
Or are you saying, I actually did research. I have some pages I've prepared. I can send them to you after this. This is, what I've already started thinking about with your business and something I think could help you. Even if it's wrong, it's showing the way you think.
Yeah. And to not be afraid of asking questions in an interview too, whether it's like, because it's like, yes, the pressure might seem on that they're like looking at you for a potential thing, but it's like, I think a tool that I use a lot that's actually from acting class, speaking of like theater, is that like when you feel nervous to like take the attention off yourself. Like all this inward energy is what makes us feel nervous. It's good productive energy, but you need to like send it towards something. So it's like if you're going into the interview, sit down, equip yourself, right? Do
Yeah.
your research, whatever, and sit down and be like, this is so cool. I have the opportunity to talk to you. Like I've read your work in XYZ and I have some questions about it. And like, let them interview you for the job and stuff. But people want to see people that are interested.
100%. I wish somebody had started an interview with me recently like that.
You can ask a question. Like, go for it.
Start it out.
Ask about the job. Actually, like get the information you need to see if the job is right for you, right?
Because an interview is a two-way street. Yes. It's not just like, I want your job. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. Right. Like maybe if you're a senior in college, you might feel like that. But at the end of the day, this is signing 2 years of your life on at least, right? Yes. Like you
don't want it to be a wrong fit because it could be a wrong fit, you know, and plenty of jobs are, and that's fine. And we learn from that kind of thing.
Yeah. And we also know that playing hard to get sometimes pays off, right?
Yes, totally. Well, okay. So you have just one sister? It's just the two of you? Do you have other siblings?
I have a sister and a brother.
And a brother. Brother is
10 years older.
10 years older.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the age difference with your sister?
7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's like, I was thinking based on how you're sort of expressing that like you copied what she did and stuff, that maybe you guys are closer in age, but that's a bigger gap, which might even have made her seem like on an even bigger pedestal for you when you were younger. How has like being the youngest played into your mindset when you were young and today?
I think when I was young, it meant that I was alone a lot, like having to play in my own world. I had a lot of friends and we had play dates and I was very social, but day to day, like a lot of my time by myself was me by myself playing in the trees outside my parents' house or playing in my room with dolls just by myself. And I think that has been a tool, both an asset and a liability going forward, where I love being around people and like crave it and seek it out. But I also feel once I get into the rhythm of being alone, it's like, it's such a peaceful process. And I think something that everyone needs day to day. I think a lot of people aren't content enough to just be in the quiet. Like I don't love listening to, I love listening to podcasts, but when I drive a lot. Yeah. And I like just having silence, like no music, no podcast.
I love the sound. I actually did that this morning. It was just one of those things where I was like prepping and I had to have a busy morning and I was like, should I listen to something? And then I was just like, I kind of just want to give my like thoughts some airtime for a little while and like unstructured, just kind of like see what comes up, and quiet drive is lovely. Totally. When you were like in high school, your teenage years, I know you were obviously going through like some of this recruiting stuff. You're playing volleyball. Socially, how did you feel in high school? How was that experience for you?
Socially, I think it was a mixed bag. I think I never really felt secure in a social group. Like I had freshman year, I did not have a group at all. I was like eating lunch in the library kind of vibes. I had like 2 or 3 friends that we would hang out some lunches. And we'd say we'd go club hopping because we'd go from like one club to the next, like, one club that's like, I don't know, young political thing. Yeah. And then
like, we're not talking about nightclubs. We're talking about FBLA.
Exactly.
Future Business Leaders of America.
Exactly. So we'd just go to whatever club was opening their doors that lunch. So we wouldn't have to sit in the library. And then, after that, I found an actual group and that was amazing. It felt like I finally kind of arrived home temporarily. Yeah. But it always flexed and flowed. And I never felt like I was fully in, I felt like there was always a group chat that somebody else had that I wasn't in. And I'm sure there always is, right? Like as humans, that's a good life lesson. Sure. Like, there's always going to be stuff you're not invited to.
And it's not personal.
It's probably not personal. It might be.
It could be. But and also probably not your business. Not. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's
like if it's personal and you need to know about it, you'll find out. You know what I mean?
So true.
You'll figure it out.
So true. And I think every kid is worried about being left out.
Yeah.
And like I was no different. It's not, like you said, it's usually not personal.
Yeah.
And if it is, those probably aren't the right friends for you. Like, take the hint, get out of there, go meet some new people.
Where was like the first place that you really felt like these are my people, this is my space?
In college. So at Harvard, you're matched with random people to live with. It's kind of like Hogwarts, like in Harry Potter. You're put in a house and then you kind of make your friends in that house and you live with them for 4 years. So I was matched up with 4 random roommates and we very quickly made friends with another group of guys that was in a similar situation. And after that first year, you decide who you're going to live with for the next 3. So it's like a really big moment after the first year. You're like, okay, your random roommates, are you going to stick with them or are you going to like ditch them and like go to a new group? So I was going to ditch them and go to like my volleyball friends. And I was like, oh, all the freshman volleyball girls are going to live together happily ever after. And my roommates were all doing the same. Each one was going to a different group. And then I just come home one night and I had this bad feeling in my stomach. I didn't know I was going to quit volleyball at that point. I was just like, I think I was watching my roommates just like laugh on the couch. And I was like, I love these people. What am I doing? Like, I got so lucky, even though I want to control the situation and like, you know, make exactly the right roommates with the right people. Like, I was given this and it works pretty well. Yeah. And I love these people. And we have these other guys who, you know, at the time you room with, you basically have a group of girls and a group of guys or another group of girls and you link with them. So those 2 groups will be together for 3 years. And I was like, guys, I know this is a crazy idea. You know, I'm worried about being said no to.
Or if everyone else wants to go in other places and I'm going to be the only one that like wants to stay with them. And what does that feel like?
Literally, it was like confessing my love for a boy. Yeah. I was like, I have a crush on you. But I was like, guys, what if we roomed together? I know the housing applications due in 2 days. And they were like, oh my gosh. And I saw the wheels turning and turning. And then everyone just goes, yes, let's do it. And so those were my best friends for 4 years of college. We lived together for 4 years. And they're still some of my best friends. So I think that knowing the security that we love each other and it's not just that we're put in a situation we have to be in, but that we actively chose each other too. And each person also comes from such a unique walk of life. I think they're special because of that, even though we're not maybe the most similar people. Like some of them are from the East Coast. Some of them are from the South. Some of them, you know, we have very different backgrounds. I was the only athlete in the group. So yeah, I think that was, I felt like I was finally home, even though it's not necessarily the home I envisioned for myself.
Well, and I love that what kind of prompted that feeling of home was a moment of vulnerability for you to be like, I like these people and I'm going to say something without the guarantee that it's going to be received the way I'm hoping, you know, and that those are sometimes the moments that really bind us to the people that become our friends or our community or our spouses or, you know, whatever it is, that moment of vulnerability really kind of like cemented this group for you.
Asha, it's so hard. Like, I feel like it keeps coming up in life, like these moments of vulnerability where you just have to go out on a limb and be like, this is how I feel. Do you feel the same? You know, I do it in volleyball still of like who I want to partner with, who I want to play with, you know, sending that email out to an agent with the fear of getting rejected. But it's like the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Well, and you also realize that it's like, that's what it's kind of all about. Like you get gifted this life, right? Like, and we all are feeling humans that are mostly thinking about ourselves, you know, and worried about ourselves and self-conscious and stuff. And it's like, you know, what binds us to people is exactly what you said. Like, this is how I feel, you know?
Here's my emotions. They're on my shoulders.
Here we are. Like, do you have are you similar? Yeah. And like most of the time, you're going to find something when you go out with that mentality.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, this has been so fun. We always end our interviews with the same question. What is a personality trait or a quality that you had when you were really young that maybe you didn't appreciate at the time, but looking back, you love about yourself now?
Let's see. I think that I would say, honestly, the way I look and like the body I was born in. So I think when I was young, I just felt like I mean, we all do. We feel like this alien. We're like, how do I move in this thing?
Right.
And I think as I've gotten older, I've just been a lot like better at embracing what I've been given and kind of just being happy with it.
Right.
So I think, and my mom would always say, you know, I was such a tomboy. I was in my like long shorts and my baggy shirts. And my mom's like, you know what? You don't have to wear a skirt. You don't have to do whatever. Like you have a beautiful body. You're going to love it one day. And I'm so happy. I just like kind of listened to her.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know. Everyone dresses differently. Yeah. And so I have my little baggy pants on and my like big sweater. And I'm just really happy that I finally like came to love myself, I think, over time.
And I can so relate to that. I feel like I was always like, I grew, I think, like 5 inches one year in high school. Like, I was always lanky, and on the taller side, but like in high school, I became very tall.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I like lovingly look at old pictures of myself sometimes. I did a lot of like ballet, and in ballet, I felt like, my ballet self. But like in group pictures and stuff, there was a lot of this going on, and it's funny because I feel like over the years that like that ballet self has kind of just fused, and it's like, you just realize it's like, well, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and have a completely different body. Like there's plenty of things we can change in our lives, and there's other things we can't,
these are my bones.
And it's also a gift, and it's also unique, and also nobody else gets this exact body and build and mind. And it's just like, I'm just going to embrace it, and I think that's what makes people really, really interesting. So thank you so much, Erin. This has been a total treat.
Oh, thank you for having me. This has been such a pleasure. Such a lovely conversation.
Yay. Thank you. All right.
And that's our show. If you liked what you heard today, please like, subscribe to, follow, and share Meet Bridget with your circle. The best way to help our work here is to rate and review our podcast. We're listening and constantly working to build something helpful for you. Catch you next time.
Bring it on, baby.